Shalom to the nation of Israel. First and foremost, before I get into my lesson, I want to start off by giving all praises unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone that teach and that rule well today. And peace and salutation also to the fellow laborers that's in the ministry and the believers that scatter worldwide in all truth and sincerity, day in and day out. Once again, I'm the brother Shakar Gabar, coming at you with another quick lesson. And right before I get into this lesson, this message or these videos goes out to you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, which we are the true biblical Hebrew Israelites, according to the Bible. And also to the Israelite foreigners that scattered amongst the heathen nations, and that may take on a physical appearance or look of another nation. But if your bloodline goes back to Negro, Latino, or Native American descent by the seed of your father, you are considered an Israelite as well. Once again, Shalom. So basically, this is going to be a quick lesson, through the spirit, touching on this proverb that Yahweh spoke when it comes to Matthew the 13th chapter, and I'll probably read down to verse 13. Okay, going into the parable of the sower and the seed. Okay, when it comes to this parable going into those that at this time coming to the understanding and finding out that we're Hebrew Israelites, okay, that now we know our true and heritage, okay, as the Lord has given us this truth, okay, when it comes to us knowing that we're not Negroes, Latinos, or Native Americans, okay, and knowing that we're Israelites, knowing our true nationality, our true power, okay, when it comes to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, okay, in the Hebrew, okay, which his name is Yahweh, meaning he is, so he exists, and the Son, who the world we call Christ, okay, his name is Yahweh Shai, okay, in the Hebrew, okay, meaning he is the deliverer, or he's the savior. And on top of that, when it comes to the prophecies, the times that win, okay, the coming downfall of Babylon the Great, which is known as America, okay, when it comes to, well, I say that this America known as Babylon the Great, when it comes to the scriptures, okay, the coming of the downfall of the biblical Edomites, the so-called white race, okay, leading to Yahweh Shai, second coming, okay, how Yahweh Shai is going to return by the hosts of the angels, what the world call UFOs, which are the chariots or the vehicles of the angels, okay, and we come to the understanding, okay, that when it comes to this calling, only the elect, okay, is going to take heed to receive this word, to be sealed, to be covered, and ultimately to be delivered. Because 2/3, according to Zechariah chapter 13, verse 8, they're going to be cut off and judged by various plagues here in America, okay? And ultimately, this place, America, going to be destroyed by the way of thermonuclear missiles at the peak of the Third World War, and the chariots bringing fire, okay? But the point of this lesson, when it comes to this parable, going to us that has been called in the faith, okay, as you see in a lot of Israelites, camps or organizations that's out there on the highways and byways, okay, here and there, mainly by this word or the Hebrew Israelite, okay, as they would say, a trend, okay, going viral by the way of the internet, okay, and you got a lot of individuals that know the Israelites, okay, which meaning going into them being sowers, okay, that has been calling the truth to represent the ministry, but you got also a lot of these Israelites teaching false doctrines, okay, and the Lord set up the false prophets to get rid of the undesirables, okay, when it comes to the 2/3, okay, and the Lord set up the true prophets, okay, to gather the elect, okay, as you can see now when it comes to various camps, okay, such as the leading camps, as they would say, okay, the most popular camps, such as IUIC, ISUPK, okay, Sakari, okay, Genesis, HOI, okay, on GOCC, WFI, okay, Sons of Thunder, okay, certain camps that relevant, okay, and although they teach Israel, but a lot of those camps are going off when it comes to the doctrine, okay, and when it comes to the true men of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, which we believe through the Spirit, okay, who I follow and who I learn from through the Spirit, okay, are the men of Great Millstone. Start with the elder apostles, bishops, and the elders and the rest of the brothers on down. That's truly out there teaching when it comes to the words of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Okay, so that will make us sowers. Okay, and the whole point of us when it comes to us out there teaching the gathered the seed eventually when it comes to the elect that's going to take heed. Okay, the good seed, and when it comes to the bad seed, the 2/3. Okay, that's not going to receive the truth. Okay, but let me go ahead and get into it. This is Matthew chapter 13, verse 1, and it says, "The same day went Yahushua out of the house and sat by the seaside, and great multitudes were gathered together to him, so that he went into a ship and sat, and the whole multitude stood on the shore." Okay, which are Israelites. Okay, because salvation in His Word, start with His Word. Okay, is only for Israelites. Okay, and salvation when it comes to Israel. Okay, those are Negro, Latino, and Native American descent. Okay, that's who Yahweh went to, because we are the Lord's chosen people. Okay, but at the time, only the elect is going to be gathered. Okay, and it says, he spake many things unto them in parables, saying, Behold, a sower went forth to sow. Okay, that's going to individuals that have been called in the faith, and that's represent this ministry by going out there teaching and pushing His word by the way of the highways and byways, and also by the way of the internet. Okay, at this time, okay, as we're sowing, okay, putting in work. Okay, when it comes to the true men of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, putting in good works by teaching the correct doctrine through the Spirit. Okay, then you have false Israelite camps and non-believers. Okay, starting with false Israelite camps that's out there teaching deceivably. Okay, misleading the congregation, leading to bad works. Okay, and it says, verse 4, and when he sowed, some seeds fell by the wayside, and the fowls came and devoured them. Okay, those seeds going to their congregation. Okay, individual that's listening to them. Okay, but you're gonna have certain individuals that's gonna fall by the wayside. Okay, certain individuals that come into the truth. Okay, or acknowledge the truth, but then they denounce the truth, or got disenchanted, went back into the world. Okay, some individuals, okay, saying that getting on the social media and saying they were former Hebrew Israelites or former Hebrew Israelite. Okay, then they become disenchanted, they scoff, they scorn, they make mockery. Okay, and so they fall by the wayside. Okay, yeah, cause a lot of our people, they see the whole Hebrew Israelite thing as a trend, a fad, a social club. Okay, which a lot of these Israelite camps push when it comes to entertainment. Okay, it's all about Hebrew Israelite music. Okay, Hebrew Israelite parties, Hebrew Israelite marriages, marching, being militant. Okay, and you got a lot of these false Israelites start with their heads, or these teachers misleading them. Okay, which a lot of their congregation don't know what they're involved in. Okay, and some of them get disenchanted. Okay, when it comes to some of these Hebrew Israelites being tyrant over them. Okay, pocket watching, shaking down their congregation. It's all about money. Okay, that's why you have certain individuals say why they left. Okay, it's too strict. the order's too strict. Okay, you see certain Hebrew or former members, as they would say, Hebrew Israelites getting on social media. Okay, the Elder Manat Zapbak from GMS South Carolina, um, Murder Beach branch. Okay, has for going on a year, about a couple of months now, on his channel, doing compilations of videos he put together, former Hebrew Israelites, okay, that saying they denounced the faith and coming against the camps, okay, debunking the Hebrew Israelites, okay, because they fell by the wayside, okay. Certain individuals that was once part of the truth, okay, or following men of great millstone that fell out the truth or got kicked out, okay, and got disenchanted, not continue on to teach, okay, but switching up the doctrine, okay, or just going back into the world, okay. That's those that fall by the wayside, okay. And it says, and when verse 4, and when he sowed, some seeds fell by the wayside, and the fowls came and devoured them up, okay. Hey, when the Lord eventually gonna bring judgment upon them, okay. Those that had lost patience or faith, okay. And it says, and some fell upon stony places where they had not much earth. Forthwith they sprung up because they had no deepness of the earth. Yeah, and we're going into the stony places. Okay, when it comes to a lot of individuals, okay, they get defended by this word. Okay, when it comes to certain controversy topics. Okay, mainly when it comes to the heathen nations not being saved. Okay, when it comes to Esau, Edom, okay, the so-called white race in the heathen nations, the original Gentiles not being saved, but they going into captivity. A lot of people get defended or offended by that. Okay, which make them, when it comes to them falling upon stony places. Okay, and when it comes to this place, America being destroyed, a lot of people don't want to accept that. Okay, they get defended at that. Okay, they get defended at what else? When it comes to the truth, when it comes to serving the Lord, preparing yourself to catch hell, a lot of people don't want to go through that. Okay, they want to, trying to seek prosperity. Okay, self gain, or want to be comfortable here. Okay, and when the truth is presented to them that all hell gonna break loose, and we're approaching the time of Jacob trouble, they won't accept. They don't want to accept that. Okay, what else? 2/3 of Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans going to be judged and cut off at this time. And they're going to have to come back in the kingdom, being the sons and daughters of the elect. They don't want to accept that. Okay? Because you got a lot of individuals that founded the Israelites that maybe came from, different walks of life, of course, but mainly out of Christianity. And they had the same, they had that mind frame of Christianity and trying to, prepare to the scriptures when it comes to them finding out they're Hebrew Israelites. Okay, but we come to the understanding that the Lord ain't dealing with no Christianity or Roman Catholicism or Egyptology. Okay, you got a lot of these camps rubbing elbows with the Egyptology or Black conscious or Islam. Okay, okay, and when it comes to the true men of Yahweh Shema Shai, hey, we tell them, hey, the Lord ain't dealing with no Christianity, Islam, Roman Catholicism, Egyptology. Okay, or any other false doctrine or philosophy outside of the words of Yahweh Shema Shai. A lot of them get offended by that. Okay, so that those that fall on stony places or stony ground. Okay, or when it comes to rebuke, reproof, they got offended by that. Okay, and just went back into the world. Okay, or just dropped the belief of being a Hebrew Israelite, and they get bitter. Okay, when it comes to their disenchantment, and and come against the truth. Okay, and it says, where they had not, verse 5, some fell upon stony places where they had not much earth. Forthwith they sprung up because they had no deepness of the earth. Yeah, so they didn't know what they was involved in when it comes to serving Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Okay, as it says in the book of Ecclesiasticus or the book of Sirach, chapter 2, okay, in the Apocrypha, when it comes to serving the Lord, prepare yourself to, for temptation, okay, in a roundabout ways, the plain way, or saying, prepare yourself to catch hell, okay, because now we find out that as we're Hebrew Israelites, we find out that we're under the curses, okay, Deuteronomy chapter 28, verses 16 through 68, okay, we found out that this place America is our captivity, our punishment, and the Lord has punished us as a nation for going off, being disobedient against the laws, statutes, commandments, serving these false gods, idol worship, okay, that we paying for our sins, okay. A lot of our people don't want to accept that, okay, because they don't know what they really evolving. And like I said, a lot of these Israelite camps, they push the notion or the motive, okay, that when you come to find out that you're a Hebrew Israelite, the next step is all about prosperity, okay. And it says, verse 6, and when the sun was up, they were scorched, and because they had no root, they withered away. Yeah, this is going into verse 6, going into when persecution come, or offenses come, okay, or false accusing, okay, or rebuke, or reproof, okay. And those that don't have the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, the spirit of discerning, and able to, apply the scriptures or wisdom when it comes to certain trials and tribulations, or fiery trials, or chastisement, okay, if they don't apply the scriptures, they get offended and they fall out the truth, okay, especially when it comes to the time of persecution. And you seeing that now, as Esau Edom ready to come down on the Hebrew Israelites, okay, you got certain Israelites starting with their leaders, okay, which a lot of them sold out, okay, switching up the doctrine, okay, uh, uh, um, you know, saying the likes of all the heathen nations can be saved, okay, Esau Edom is not the wicked, there's no thing such as Jacob's trouble, okay, so now they get more and more offended and get more and more disenchanted as the persecution is coming, okay, and it says, and when the sun was up, they were scorched, and because they had no root, they withered away. Okay, and when it comes to a lot of the congregation, okay, they're seeing all the confusion, okay, not knowing that what they were involved in, following those false prophets and the false doctrine, seeing how they more and more switching up. A lot of them, leaving those certain organizations, okay, not listening to those camps, okay. But we know there's going to be a lack amongst uh, the Israelite camps, okay. But those that being misled right now, and the Lord will waken them up to the truth, stir them the right way, okay, they're going to be grafted in, okay, or gathered, okay, by the words of Yahweh Shema Shai, okay, and us are the hopeful elect, us that has been called in the faith, us is all about enduring, okay, and it says, and some, verse 7, and some fell among the thorns, and the thorns sprung up and choked them, okay, offenses, okay, a lot of offenses, okay, when it comes to the thorns, okay, Esau, Edom can't be saved, the heathen nations can't be saved, they go into captivity, okay, our people don't want to accept that, a lot of Hebrew Israelites, okay, there's no Jacob's trouble, okay, the RFID microchip is not the mark of the beast, okay, a lot of people get offended at that, okay, this place America gonna be destroyed, okay, 2/3 of our people gonna be judged, a lot of people get offended at that, okay, they the great doctrine in the marital age of a young woman and a young man when it comes to their marriage. Okay, you know, a lot of people get offended by that. Okay, so that's those thorns. Okay, you know that are people or certain individuals amongst Israel that fell out or not accepting the truth. Okay, verse 8. But other fell into good ground and brought forth fruits, some 100-fold, some 60-fold, and some 30-fold. Okay, going to eventually the elect. Okay, start with the true men of Yahweh Shema Shai that's out there teaching. Okay, that fall on good ground. Okay, when it comes to their seed prospering in the truth, when it comes to this word being taught correctly, and the Lord gathering the elect. Okay, verse 9. Who had ears to hear, let him hear. That means spiritual understanding the truth. Because they're going to take the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shai to dwell with you to understand the truth. Okay, and the true men that the Lord set up to give you the understanding. And the disciples came and say unto him, Why speakest thou unto them in parables? He answered and said unto them, Because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given. Showing you that Lord brought a separation when it comes to the truth, even amongst Israel. Okay? The Lord is only concerned at this time is about the elect that's going to understand the parables and the truth. Okay, well, that's wisdom Solomon, well, I think with 3 and 5. Okay, for the elect shall understand the truth. Okay, because he cared for his elect. Okay, that's why they should understand the truth. Okay, Romans 11 and 7. The elect shall have attained it, and the rest was blinded. Okay, so that's why the Lord spoke back then by the way of parables to the people. Okay, on the elect, starting with the disciples at that time. Okay, minus Judas Iscariot. Okay, and the elect at that time eventually got the truth, which the elect is back here today to receive the truth, leading to salvation. And that's the number that we're striving to be part of. Okay? Hey, reincarnation. A lot of people get offended at that. Okay? You know? And so the Lord only dealing with the elect. And that's the number that we're striving to be part of. Okay? That's who the mysteries are given unto at this time, the elect. Like I said, the 2/3 don't have to be judged at this time. Okay? Due to their non-belief. Okay? 2nd Ezra chapter 15, verse 1. Okay, and start with the 2/3. Okay, when it comes to their non-belief. Okay, with the 2/3, their non-belief, they're gonna be judged, and they have to be once again reincarnated. Okay, in the kingdom, being the sons and daughters of the elect, and that's how eventually they're gonna inherit the kingdom. Okay, but right now a lot of people are just offended. They get offended with certain spiritual aspects of the scriptures being taught. Okay, hey, so-called UFOs or being the chariots. Okay, a lot of people don't want to accept that. Hey, the skin tone of the Heavenly Father and the Son, being so-called dark-skinned men or dark-skinned entities. People get offended at that. Okay. What else, man? Many. Okay, because they spiritually discern when it comes to the scriptures. Okay. Hey, we talk about, spiritual intervention, spiritual power, immortality. Okay, everlasting bodies. How people can't comprehend that. Okay, so those that fall on stony places or on the wayside. Okay, when it comes to those certain seeds. Okay, but the elect that fall on the seed that fall on good ground is the elect that's going to understand the truth. Okay, and not be offended. Okay, you're going to have to walk through the trials, go through the trials and tribulations. Okay, and it says verse 12, for whosoever have, to him shall be given, and he shall have more abundance, and that's the elect. Okay, but whosoever have not, from him shall be taken away, even that he have, and that's going into the 2/3. Okay, starting with the false prophets amongst Israel. Okay, mainly starting with these false leaders amongst Israel. They're constantly switching up the doctrine. So the more and more they wax worse and worse, okay, because the Lord is taken away from them. Okay, which eventually Lord going to bring judgment upon them and those that are their congregation. Okay, they're allotted for the destruction, man. Okay, but the Lord elect is going to be more abundance when it comes to the truth. Okay, and eventually leading to salvation. Okay, and the Lord Yahweh Shai having the elect being joint heirs. Okay, when it comes to the kingdom, start with the elect. Okay, ruling. And it says, verse 13, therefore speak I to them in parables, because they see not, and hearing they hear not, neither do they understand. Okay, so once again, the words of Yahweh Shai is only for the elect. Okay, matter of fact, let's get them two scriptures I quoted. For the wisdom of Solomon, and that's the number that we're striving to be part of. Okay, wisdom of Solomon, chapter 3, verse 9. They that put their trust in him shall understand the truth. Such as be faithful in love shall abide with him. For grace and mercy is to his saints, and he had care for his elect. Okay, so the Lord only care for his elect at this time. Okay, that's why we understand these scriptures. Okay, through the Spirit. And the Lord said to the true men, they're able to teach the scriptures through the Spirit. Okay, let's get this on Romans 11 and 7. So we count ourselves blessed, okay? And for us, the hopeful elect is all about endurance, okay? Because the Lord said that, Matthew the 24th chapter, those that endure to the end, the same shall be saved, okay? And the scriptures also says, give diligence to make thy calling and election sure, okay? Matter of fact, let me get that real quick. But that 1 Peter, I think it's 2 Peter, 2 Peter chapter 1 verse 10. Wherefore the rather, brethren, give diligence to make your calling and election sure, for if you do these things, you shall never fall. Okay, and that's what we're striving to keep on teaching. Okay, day in and day out, week in and week out. Okay, keeping the law, statutes, commandments to the best of our ability, the high holy days to the best of our ability. Okay, as we in this grace period, in the knowledge of Yahweh Shai. Okay, being diligent to make our calling and election sure. Okay, and once again, the Lord is only dealing with the elect. Okay, Romans 11 verse 7. Okay, the Lord only dealing with the elect at this time. Romans 11 verse 7. What then? Israel had not attained that which he seeketh for, but election have attained it, and the rest was blinded. Okay, so at this time, 2/3 of our people are blinded. Okay, only the elect is going to receive this truth to the fullest. That's going to lead to the covering of the Lord. Okay, when it comes to Jacob's trouble, and the Lord on bringing salvation to the elect. Okay, and that's the number that we're striving to be part of once again. So I'm gonna go ahead and end the lesson here, and I pray that the lesson will edify. Till next time, Lord willing. Shalom to the hopeful elect. Shalom.